अस्सलाम वालेकुम बड़ी, दिस इज़ ज़ोरेस खालिद। और आज मैं ये सोच रहा था कि किस तरह हम लोग माशरे के अंदर वी इनकाउंटर मैनी सिचुएशंस विच अपीयर टू बी वेरी चाइल्डिश at the spur of the moment. We say things, we get to hear things, we do things which are pretty below our aptitude in scenarios otherwise. So मेरा मकसद वीडियो बनाने का ये था कि I'll be able to give you personal examples where I felt that I was bullied, and then what were the repercussions afterward, how I felt, how demeaning the bullying was, and up to what stage it was effective, until then a person like me who revolted. So it begins from an early incident in doing the public school where I studied. It was a mediocre school of mostly people who belong from Sarkari Mulazmeen to maybe low income people who afforded their children study at a very nominal price but good studies. सो लाहौर में इस तरह था कि मेरा एक हम नाम शख्स था जो कि बाद में लेटर ऑन इट रिवील्ड टू मी वेरी आफ्टरवर्ड के ही बिलोंग फ्रॉम अ फैमिली विच वाज वेरी वेल इन कॉग्निशन टू द फैक्ट that why he behaved that like a particular way. So what he used to do was to and this is about class 6 and 7, which by the way of today's norms is an age where children are very like responsive, simultaneous in their reactions. They are very apt to what is going on in around the world. So ये एक ऐसी एज थी, उस दौर की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ जब हम लोग तो कह लें कि फुद्दू ही होते थे. So anyhow, सीन ये था कि he used to get my lunch because he once noticed me seeing close to being friends with a guy he did not like, and somehow the phobia was that I am good friends with a particular guy in the class, and he will tell Madam Ghazala that I am good friends with him, and why so. And because Madam Ghazala used to treat that particular child very badly due to his grades or whatever. So this was the case. Or later out turned out that the other Zoreis was again, I am so sorry, I have to be bully right now, was coming from a person his father was a wagon driver. So even I know respectable people who have certain bit of respect. So this was the first incident. Then I went to do my O levels quite later in Islamabad, and OPF I used to be like bullied for people for the reasons, and they are very good friends now, like why I'm getting good grades. And यार तू तो साइंस में अच्छे ग्रेड्स लेता है, आर्ट्स में लेके दिखा. अगेन अ ग्रेट बडी. एंड थिंग्स लाइक के OPF में because it was all boys school, why is that I'm getting good grades is because I was a favorite of teachers. Okay, this is one reason. But later on, when I went to city school where it was co-education, I think the bullying continued less for particular reasons. Number one, my neighbors, all of them, my whole street children were going to the same school, the city school, I8. So scene ये था कि I was protected by the elders of the class, but I was made to appear like the most foolish guy, again because of the aptitude. Now I'll revert back to what were my reactions, but more lately I discovered that they had planned to take off my pants and whatever. So this was the mummy daddy guy feeling I had all my life, but I somehow was protected all these years because those incidents did not take place. But what did take place were the memories that hinged upon around these facts later on. When I discovered that these were the plans, it really hurted me because by that time these people had grown also. So they were graceful enough to admit that they were planning to do such thing. Now this is typical bullying mindset. Because I was the easier target, but somehow was protected because I used to be like Ayatul Kursi, maybe because I was that naive. I cannot confront people. So in city school, because it was a co-education had meanings that people were more involved in into making friendships with the people of opposite gender, and that's why somehow it was less equivocal that I was a soft target. But anyhow, why I'm quoting my personal examples is to let you know that every person is being bullied in real life as well. Now I'll take you to my university, but before going to that, but here in city school, because people I know, they came from a strata which was a medium to upper middle class. People knew that if I was getting good grades, and not that it was a competition between ourselves, but it was a competition, a syndicate with the Cambridge O levels, A levels wala scene. So I felt that people had a new knowing that it was not because of the favoritism that the teachers were giving me good grades, because marks doesn't matter really, do they? So इसके बाद क्या सीन हुआ? इसके बाद ये सीन हुआ कि यूनिवर्सिटी चला गया, उधर जो लल्लू पंजू, मतलब आपको मैं बताता हूँ, because they came from diversified, and I am using the same kind of words because I am also a product of this muashra. लल्लू पंजू कह रहा हूँ, क्यों मैं किसी को डिमीन कर रहा हूँ, but the fact, harsh reality is कि पिंडा था तो वो लोग आए होते थे, and the thing is कि once they saw somebody in a better proposition with respect to their what they are eating, what they are wearing, I used to hear remarks कि यार तू तो इस वजह से अच्छा है क्योंकि तुम्हारे पास ये चीज़ें मैसर हैं, ये दस्तयाब है. And then I had a commute which I used to take to and from Islamabad. So वो भी एक जो ना मेरे लिए ताना बना होता था. Unfortunately, people were then savvy for their grades, GPAs. I also came across an incident where I was the culprit because I was the front end of doing sexual harassment apparently, but I conducted a very thorough introspection and I went to to one counselor within the school, which let me know that it wasn't my fault really, but I had again to apologize, which I am really proud of today as well. So I did apologize to the people I actually hurted. The other ones, I am not part of it, okay? But again, coming back to the main issue, why I bully someone or somebody, because of it's the jungle, rule of the jungle. So survival of the fittest is the norm of the world today. It's the real life. Now those students, when they approach me today, who were with me in the university, college or school, I have seen them evolve. And I've seen myself evolve as well, because at that time I had patience. Now today I am being approached by people who want to work with me in my company, and they were the ones who kind of committed my personal things that really inflicted me in the early days of my life. So ये भी एक इंसान को मजबूत बनाती है. So bullying is nothing to worry about. There comes a time then that you evolve beyond those small gimmicks and chickenry and the harsh or the most of the time harsh नहीं होता ये to make fun of you, because you know blackmailing is easier to face, because there is an ulterior objective of the person who is making, because you are the victim and the other person is wanting to have some leverage out of it. But blasphemy or bullying is literally blasphemy for me. So bullying is a very because they don't have an intent to make something productive out of it. They would just want to have fun. Bullies in real life are exhibited in a very recent example when one of my colleagues from university was wanting to have a solution built for him, because I do some engineering solutions for my company. So I was in constant approach, and this is how my other customers also do. But at the later point in time, it was like turning from a friendship to professional, say, to that below the belt wala point, where he wanted to treat me the same way he used to do in the university, and want to make sure that he was just luring me, and I was feeling that he's trying to give me business and he wants me to do the TC, and eventually what all he was doing was to take the chaska. So I'm still in that bit of mind frame where I take people innocently speaking. I take people for the word they are, the words they are saying. I believe in them. One other example, which is very critical to discuss here, is how employers become bullied at hands of your employees. So taking from the client's perspective of someone who was my university fellow, now jumping into the point where I employed people from the university, from my own alma mater, and then they had to turn their backs on me, given they knew what were my weak points, and it is fair for me to share with them what are the weak points of the company, so that they better be prepared कि ये अगर कहा जाए तो आपको उसका rebuttal किस्सा देना है in modern dealings with the customers. So those things were taken as a leverage to insult me practically, because they felt that they took the company for granted, because ये इनके सीनियर की या जूनियर की कंपनी है. सीनियर्स ने मेरे साथ ये नहीं किया बाय द वे, मगर जूनियर्स का बहरहाल ये था, एंड इट इज़ माई ओन फॉल्ट इन दैट एस्पेक्ट टू बी बुलीड बाय दीज थिंग्स. बट देयर comes a time then that you grow beyond these things, and that is when you are literally out of your comfort zone, but at the same time you are entering a new zone, which makes you feel more subtle and less reactive to things which can eventually not hurt you in the real physical or the monetary aspect. So these are the things which are true, and now I'll take these examples to one another most recent incident that took place on the ground, sports ground. So sports ground is where somewhere जहाँ पे आपको डिसिप्लिन का सबसे ज़्यादा अमली मुजाहरा करना होता है, वरना आपकी कोई ग्रेस का फ़ायदा नहीं है, आपके लबो लहजे का कोई फ़ायदा नहीं है, आपके फिजिकल अपीयरेंस के कोई, आपके कितने डशकरे हैं, आप कितने अच्छा खेलते हैं, कोई फ़ायदा नहीं है if you don't have the basic courtesy. And the basic courtesy is to oblige people, for respect them for their time. If you're coming to the court, come early. If you have committed someone to come to the court at time, come at that time. Don't try to bully to make it an excuse. You start saying you join late with other guys, and you start saying yaar tu bada punctual hai. So this is kind of a thing which happens. The second thing could be if you're waiting for your turn and somehow the other participants resolve and make sure that you don't get a chance to play. How is that done is you always be aware of कि आप गेम अपनी लंबी करते जाएं. You make sure that the tiebreaker point is enhanced. I'm talking particularly about tennis, where I feel, and these are really grown men, like these are working in very good institutes, and don't think how can they be good with their colleagues at the works that they do. So these are the things, and obviously there are faults in me as well. What I'm trying to suggest here is bullying, nothing can affect you as long as you don't take it personally. The practical reason that I'm making this video is not to make those people aware that yaar, I feel this way, that you have obstructed my normalcy, and you have obstructed the fact that I take your word very seriously, I respect your word, and then I'm being disguised. So nobody wants to be disguised, but at the same time we are doing this, we have to be very thoughtful if it is going to impact someone else's life or not. I will give you the last example before closing down this video, which is we are sometimes in life devastated by things which happen with us, but those things really can be conquered, and there is no practical reason to be felt blasphemous about, because that person Nauzubillah is not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has given you the life. You have every right to live your life. You have every right to say no to the bullies. You don't actually you try to ignore them. Okay, this is not my way. You revolt, which again is not my very solid way of doing things. You feel bad for them. You self-destruct yourself for the things that they said. Okay, that is usually what happens. But the one thing which we all can agree upon is it's a karma thing. So if you ever bully person who is lower than your strata, maybe a beggar, you are saying कि जा मैं नहीं देता तुझे पैसे, yeah, you do anything which is to insult someone's ego, you are going to be paid back. This is simple crux. So try to not do that. Try to not infringe upon other people's rights, to not make them feel miserable, to do not demean them. This should be the ulterior motive, because फिर eventually Allah की जो पकड़ है that is very soft. And again, रिश्तेदार. See ya.